Hey everyone, today we're going to look at art history a little differently. We're diving into the amazing world of local Philippine arts, but not the kind you find behind glass in a museum. We're talking about art that's alive, that you can feel, that's part of everyday life.
So let me ask you something. When you hear the word art, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably a painting hanging in some quiet gallery, right? Something you're supposed to look at from a distance, but definitely don't touch. We kind of learn that art is this thing that's separate from our real lives. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the most incredible art is something you can actually wear or even live in? Because in the Philippines, art isn't just something you hang on a wall. It's literally woven into the fabric of the culture. It's in the threads of the clothes we wear, it's in the very walls of the houses we call home, and it's in these beautiful, intricate patterns that carry the stories of generations. It's a language, a history, an identity that you can actually see and feel.
Okay, so let's start with the things we wear. Philippine textiles, they're so much more than just pretty fabrics. They're like these complex living documents, and every single thread has a story to tell. Now check this out. This slide is amazing because it shows two completely different ways of life just by looking at two types of cloth. First up, you've got tinalak from the Taboli people in Mindanao. It's made from abaca fiber on a simple loom, but get this, the patterns aren't sketched out. They come to the weaver in dreams. It's a deeply spiritual, sacred process. And then you have a naubel from the Ilocos region. It's woven on a bigger pedal-powered loom using cotton, and it really embodies those Ilocano values of hard work and endurance. One is a message from the spirits, the other is a celebration of human resilience. So cool. I mean, let's just sit with that for a second. The weaver doesn't just decide on a pattern. The design is a gift. It's a message from a spirit named Fu Dalu. The weaver becomes this incredible link between the spiritual world and our material world. And that's what makes Tanalik so sacred. It's not just a product. It's a prayer. It's a story. It's a piece of the weaver's soul you can actually hold.
Okay, so from the art that we wear, let's move on to the art that we live inside. A Filipino home has always been more than just a roof over your head. It's a statement about your culture, it's a social hub, and it's a living expression of a family's history and their values.
And this just shows so brilliantly how architecture itself becomes art. Take a look at the Batanes stone house. Those thick stone walls and that low roof aren't just for show. They are a perfectly designed, beautiful response to the super harsh typhoons in that area. Its beauty is its strength. Then you've got the Marino Torregon, this huge, royal house made of hardwood. It wasn't just built for one family, but for an entire community, and practically every inch of it is covered in this incredible decorative art. Each house is literally a blueprint of its culture.
And you know, what's really important to get is that it's not just the building itself. It's what's inside that truly gives a home its soul. It's the hand-carved nar furniture, that family altar you always see in the corner, the woven banag mats on the floor, the old family photos on the walls. These aren't just decorations, right? They're layers of memories, of faith, of identity that turn a simple house into a home, a space really built for community. All right, now let's zoom in, like way in. We're going from the grand structure of a home down to the tiny, intricate details that cover it. We're going to talk about Okor, which is this visual language that is just so central to the Islamic art of the southern Philippines.
Okir is so much more than just pretty patterns. Seriously, think of it like a whole language. But instead of letters, it's written in these flowing curves and geometric shapes. It's this beautiful mix of indigenous designs that are inspired by nature, blended with the core principles of Islamic art. Every single motif you see, whether it looks like a serpent or a fern, is like a word that's just packed with meaning. And if Okipir is a language, then probably its most famous word, the one you might have seen before, is the Sarimonic. This legendary bird isn't just a picture, it's a powerful symbol for the culture. Just look at all the different layers of meaning that are packed into this one image. The Sarimonok is a symbol of good fortune, it's a link between our world and the spirit world, and it's a super proud emblem of Maranao identity. That fish it's carrying, that represents abundance. It's a whole story, a whole belief system, all captured in one single powerful form. And here's where it all connects. In Islamic art, there's a general principle of not depicting living things in religious art. Now, you might think that's a limitation, but it wasn't. Instead, it caused this absolute explosion of creativity in geometric and abstract patterns. This principle took the nature-based, flowing forms of the Philippines and gave them a new spiritual structure. And the result was the breathtakingly complex art of Okir.
So we've seen art in our clothes, in our homes, and in these beautiful patterns. We've kind of learned to see it everywhere around us. But this journey isn't just about looking and appreciating. Realizing this art is everywhere, well, it comes with a bit of responsibility.
And that brings us to a really tough but super important question. When a big fashion brand slaps a Tenalic pattern on a product without permission, or when you see Okir designs used on cheap, mass-produced souvenirs without any context, what is that? There's a really fine line between honoring a tradition and just straight up exploiting it. And it's a huge ongoing conversation. And to really understand this art, we have to wrestle with these ethical questions. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Seeing the art all around you, that's the first step. The next, and maybe harder step, is asking ourselves what it asks of us. Now that you know the story that's woven into a piece of cloth, the soul that lives inside a home, and the language inside a pattern, what's your part in this story? How are you going to help honor, protect, and celebrate this incredible heritage for the future?